That's your mistake. This is my world.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Reviews. My name is John.
And my mic is plugged in, and my name is Matt.
Yep, that's Matt right there. And today we are going to be recapping F9, the final in the mainstream Fast franchise, leading into FX, Fast 10, whatever you want to call it. We'll be diving into that. You'll probably, actually at this point, you could see a short review of that here on the channel that we put out last Friday. But we were a little late on these. We fell a week behind somehow, somewhere.
Did we?
Yeah, well, because this won't be out until...
Oh, I think I went off watch order.
Oh, is that what it is?
Not when we're actually watching, not the release of the podcast.
I actually told John Doe Juggalo in here that I let you make the schedule for this, and that's how it got screwed up.
Well, I looked at watch order, and I was like, all right, we watch them every Thursday. We'll be good. So we're good leading into... Whoever's listening to this, sorry.
Yeah.
You're not great.
But speaking of the half-ass movie reviews...
The 10 of you that listen.
Yeah, well, we can also talk about the 4K that we haven't been really talking about, because we did talk about the Universal set, but we didn't talk... F9 is the first one to come out away from the set, and it also had Dolby Vision, which the other ones...
I think 8 had Dolby Vision as well.
Did it?
I believe so.
Okay. I don't remember, but that was also over a week ago.
8 and 9 are the ones with Dolby Vision. And speaking of the 4K disc, that is a 10 out of 10 Atmos
Oh, yeah,
track,
you
right?
were not lying. No, that's a perfect Atmos track.
Fantastic.
I mean, when the helicopter blades are spinning, that's my ultimate test for a good Atmos track. If I can hear that going around the room, I'm like, okay, they got it right.
Well, when every once in a while, because my right speaker, my right rear is right by my staircase, so when I turn around to see if someone's coming down the stairs or something, you know it's a good track.
Yeah, if you know it's playing well behind
going on
you.
in the background. But the bass was insane.
Oh my god, yeah. It was even, you had bass in the front channels on it, which is very rare.
Yeah,
I was noticing
like,
that.
Holy shit, this is like in a perfect mix. This is like reference quality Atmos at its finest.
Yeah.
F9.
Well, it's a,
Bravo. And, it visually looked great too.
Oh yeah, it looked, I mean, some of the CGI, like, there was times when I was watching it, and the CGI, like, backgrounds that clearly, like, filmed in front of a green screen, I was like, oh, that's very noticeable. But the budget on this is insane, so, you know. And this came out back in 2021. This was the first movie I remember getting delayed by the COVID virus.
Really?
Yes, I remember when this got delayed, they pushed it back a whole year.
Wow.
And it was right before it was supposed to come out, so it didn't come out till 2021. And it actually, I think this was one of the ones that welcomed us back to the theater.
Wow.
Which I did not see in theaters.
Actually, the last Fast movie I think I saw in theaters, maybe 6. I know I saw 5, possibly 6. And I somewhat lost interest, but I came back with a vengeance, and I love them again. Yeah,
this one actually was probably one of the weaker ones in the franchise for me, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
I don't, it's a love-hate, and, you got to watch them with that open mindset, and you have to just laugh at it. And, like, we have a little joke where, like, Vin Diesel is, like, I think he's executive producer on all
Yeah, he is. He's in a bunch of credits.
So I feel like Vin Diesel, he is Dominic Toretto in real life, and he's rewriting some of these scenes. And, like, what was the one when he walked out of the fire? Just little things here and there that I just think leaning over the writer's shoulder, he's like, no. What if we did this? Or what if I did this? And
this was the return of the fucking Arkham Vision, or the Bat Vision.
My God. Yeah,
and actually, there was also a scene, I think it was him, who took on an entire... Oh yeah, it was him. He jumped down, he closed the door, and just like Batman in the Arkham games, he's just taking on enemies as they're flying at him.
Well, it was kind of similar to Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Right, with Bane and
and that water thing or whatever.
Yes, and then he takes the change and just rips the whole foundation of the building down.
And then when he falls in the water, he does do that. He falls in the water down there, and then he has like a vision, and he could see the entire thing that happened with him and his brother, and it's like, oh, well, okay, I'm glad that now you're able to move past it.
Right, so the movie actually opens up with a flashback in 1989. And then you see the cars going around the track. You see, the little signatures on top of the window, Jack Toretto.
Yeah.
So like, oh shit, this is Dad. We're gonna see what happened that day. And then, I don't know if I agree with the visual appearance of the actors they chose for I guess the entire family.
Yeah, everything kind of...
We never got a picture of his father. Right?
No, I just thought he was a little older.
Speaking of father, did you catch that he said it weird again at one point?
Oh, yeah, no, there's actually at this track, yeah.
Yeah.
And this track, actually, I looked it up because I was curious
Baldwin or something?
Well, Baldwin's in the movie, but it's I think it's Irvine in Los Angeles, which I've heard Dale Earnhardt Jr., the NASCAR driver, talk about this. But because I'm a NASCAR fan, it was actually bothering me. The cars they were driving were not 1989 exact late model
they
stock cars.
They weren't era correct?
They were not era correct. Now, you could tell from Jack Toretto's car had a mid to late 90s Monte Carlo nose on it.
Okay.
Not accurate. So, I mean, have these movies ever gone for accuracy? This movie also features a Pontiac Fiero in space. So.
Right, yes. So we're at the track, during one of these flashbacks, and then we see that there's another Toretto.
Yeah?
That we had no idea about till the 9th movie in, which is crazy. And, he's always running around family. And that's his blood.
I know. And he knew about it. Like, when I first went into this, I thought it was going to be like a surprise. Like, he had a surprise son. Now he has a surprise brother. But no, he knew. And I was actually surprised that they wrote it in that Letty knew. Letty was like, was that Jacob? Like, so he's brought it up to her. They
all knew.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. Like, he was around. Because remember when Dom gets out of... So, fast forward, the whole story, he tells him fast one, he beats the guy with the wrench. So, we see the car accident. So his brother and his father were in on it together. They had to throw the race because they were down on money, and he was throwing the race to, I guess, for betting purposes. So his brother put a hole in the fuel line or brake line or something like that to make it look like there was an actual mechanic
malfunction.
Yeah. Mechanical malfunction. And, he got pit maneuvered, and then the car just went up in the air and exploded. Not entirely. I'm not entirely sure if that's what would definitely happen, but anyway.
I've seen a few accidents where people have had their car get caught in the catch.
This is also the 80s, so safety is a lot different.
A lot better, yeah.
Yeah, so it's possible. Nothing's impossible.
And also, those aren't those are late model stock cars. They're put up together by those guys. Yeah, so it's not like they're gonna fucking have the best engineering anyway. Right, yeah. Michael Rucker's running this team as well. So
great to see Michael Rucker pop up.
Always love to see him.
Nothing's impossible in this universe, especially after this movie. But so his brother, I guess, puts a little hole in the line, and that's what causes the fuel or the brake fluid to come out, catches fire, car explodes, Dom is screaming, "Dad, Dad, 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 Dad," and his brother Jacob is sitting there like, "What have I done?" Bah, 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 bah. And then they flash forward a couple days, I guess, and the driver who pit maneuvers them is sitting at the track, and he's looking at the car that he crashed, and he's trying to pay his respects, but the hothead Toretto's come and say, "All right, get out of here," and they end up beating him with a wrench.
Yep.
And actually, Jacob grabs the wrench first, but Dom says, "Get out of here," grabs it out of his hand, and then he ended up beating him up. So I don't know if he was taking one for his brother. He was not, because that's what I thought it was at first when I saw Jacob grab the wrench. I thought he was going to do it, and Dom took the fall.
Like they were just going to make Dom that much more of a hero. Even the one bad thing he ever really did, they were like, okay, it wasn't really him. It was John Cena. Yeah, that was something that I was expecting to happen. Then he did grab it, did off camera. He beat the ever-loving shit out of him, I guess, which he deserved because he looked ridiculous.
Now he's a janitor at a high school.
Is that?
That's canon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He brings that up.
So Dom goes to prison, and then he gets out of prison. Back to my original point here. He gets out of prison, and he shows up at the street races where Dom's brother Jacob shows up in this beautiful fox body hatchback Mustang.
Speaking of canon, this guy loves Mustangs. That continues.
Big Mustang guy.
Like you must be some kind of relation to John Cena.
I was a big fan of that fox body, that 80s or 90s, whatever.
I'm guessing it's supposed to be he went to prison. I'm guessing early 90s.
Yeah. So,
again, I still have so many questions how the Toretto's.
He shows up. I forgot the car he was driving. I don't think it was a Charger.
I thought he said something about Dad's Charger. Didn't he say that?
Well, they were really driving home that they're immortal and they last forever and blah, 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 blah. But that's just, I guess, why Dom loves the Charger. So maybe it was just a different body style.
Well, the visuals of this scene looked like, again, this looked a lot of
it looked more like an Impala or something. It could have been a Charger. I'm just not familiar with that particular body style. It might have been like a 70s, because the 69 is the one that the big blower sticking out of the hood that he wheelies in the first one.
Yeah,
and
the
just
one
comes
that's
back every
every
that's a
movie,
69.
yeah.
He gets out of the car, and then you see a young Vince, you see a young Leon, you see a young Letty, and a young Mia.
Yes.
If you picked up on all that.
I did. I mean, again, casting choices, and also, I mean, it takes place, I'm going to guess this is like 7 or 8 years before the first movie. So sometime in here, these people age into John Cena, Vin Diesel, and Michelle Rodriguez. So this is where you got to defy a little belief.
Well, Dom probably spent all that time in the gym.
Yes. But this guy looked like he was trying to do a Vin Diesel impression, but it just didn't seem right coming out of that guy's mouth for some reason.
he gets out of prison because also while he was in prison, he sees the two Spanish guys that are always arguing, Santos and Leo, maybe, or
yeah, I just remember Santos.
I forget his name.
Because didn't they meet in prison?
Yeah, they were at a mechanic shop or something in prison, and they were working on a motor, and they were arguing in the corner like they always do.
I love that they're always
and then
fighting.
they noticed a hole in the fuel line from across the room on what Dom was working on, and they said, if there's a hole there, it'll cause a misfire, and then it could explode. So that's exactly what happened at the track. And then again, Dom, light bulb. That must have been what happened to Dad.
The one thing.
So he gets out of prison, finds his brother, says, "I know what you did. We're racing to settle this because that's how we settle things in this universe. If you win, you get to come home. If you lose, you keep on driving and you never come back." And obviously, Dom wins because he always does.
And he did the honorable thing, and he knew he lost, so he said he just kept going. We didn't see him.
He wasn't happy about it. He seemed pretty upset, but he took off.
Didn't he have a girlfriend too? So
I don't remember, but that was the end of the flashback.
Yeah. So this flashback went throughout the entire movie. We get this whole mystery unravel. It's not one scene. We get a ton of flashbacks throughout.
Yeah, this is all these are all the flashbacks, pretty much all.
Because like in the present day, basically when the movie starts, Dom and Letty are now raising little Brian, on this farm, and even Michelle Rodriguez, they want to be costume accurate, so she's wearing overalls, because she works on a farm now. So like when she worked in a mechanic shop, she wore a mechanic suit, but now it's a farm. She got overalls. Dom's teaching little Brian there how to work on a fucking tractor,
telling him about tools. But then a car pulls up. And we don't know who it is, so we tell him to go hide. We grab the guns, but it's only Tej and Tyrese and Ramsey.
Yep.
So they all pull up. You don't have a phone. I can't call you. Blah blah blah. The boiler's out. That was before that. So we have a direct line to Mr. Nobody. When he's in distress, he sends it right to, I guess,
Ramsey,
maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
Interesting choice, but okay. So they show him the thing. They look at the video. He's on a plane. It's going down, and then Dom uses his detective vision. Well, actually, no. So they say, "All right, we're gonna go look for this plane to save Mr. Nobody."
Yeah, they sent out like it sends out some sort of like tractor, and like he was actually taking Cypher. So whoever this was kidnapped Cypher, let this plane crash, and so now the team has to.
Well, he found Cypher after the end of 8?
Yeah, so Cypher was on here, but somebody wanted Cypher because she, again played by Charlize Theron, with Demi Moore's ghost haircut in this movie, which, you know what, she pulled it off. Never usually a fan of the bowl cut.
Anyway, so Dom says, you know what, I'm out of the game, just like Brian and Mia. Michelle Rodriguez, Letty's like, no, I'm going to go. So she goes, they put the kid to bed. Then he looks at the footage one more time in detective vision now, and he finds his cross is in there. Like,
that was ridiculous.
What the fuck? Why is this cross in there?
This one cross that they sold at every flea market across the USA. How did it end up in here?
It's been in all 10 movies. So that's the most reoccurring character is this cross.
It is, because it does get passed around.
There's no other character that shows up in every single movie except this cross.
Well, this cross might be...
Maybe not Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh my God.
He was probably wearing it at the post-credit thing, because he... Right? There was a little post-credit thing in Too Fast, Too Furious?
No, Dom doesn't appear at all. There's no mention of Dom in Too Fast, Too Furious.
Not at all? What about in Mexico? Or is he driving the red Chevelle in the post-credit scene?
Maybe. I don't remember that.
Mexico. Anyway, doesn't matter. So
now the team is on the tarmac, but Dom didn't want to come. But now he made a phone call to his sister because, it's her brother too, and she shows up instead of Brian because this is one thing that really bothered me in this movie is that we're just basically cutting around the fact that Brian is still alive. So Jordana Brewster shows up, who has never been a part of any.
Well, he calls for a favor.
Well, yeah, to watch her kid.
To watch the kid. So again, who is watching the kid because she ends up with them?
Brian.
Right.
But that's my point.
Uncle
It's
Brian,
wouldn't Brian be the one to come? He's done this before, but this is us. Right. We have to write around it.
Yeah,
so it's
that's the best they could. There's what else could you have really done?
No, I know, and this is why I think we should have killed him off in the franchise.
No, I like it better this way.
Do you?
The Buster's still alive.
I mean, I guess I like it in the one scene at the end with the skyline.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like, how do we complete these movies without him at least showing up again? I don't know.
Maybe they'll use his brother for something.
I mean, we have brought people back from the dead. Carrie Fisher. A lot of the Star Wars movies have brought people back.
Not impossible. Anyway, so wheels up at 8. They're all on the runway. Dom shows up as the plane's leaving in his Charger. Does he drive it right onto the plane?
Right going right towards the plane. He starts at the other end of the runway.
Yeah, but does he get on the plane with the car?
I don't remember if he gets on the plane with the car. No, he gets out and hugs Letty because he's coming. And then they show up in the fucking the jungle now. Again, I question about how they get all the cars there, but that's for another day, I guess.
Yeah, we have resources. They're already there.
Yeah. Well, the best car is perfect for these situations. I don't know.
Except Dom's, his fucking Charger in dirt road up in the mountains in the woods. That's crazy, but...
I mean, this scene's full of crazy shit. So.
Yeah. So there's crazy scenes going on through this jungle. Yeah, it's some sort of almost look like the island from Lost.
It did kind of look like the island from Lost. And Michelle Rodriguez is at the front of all this as they're
now she rides motorcycles
ahead of everybody because they got to go through this gigantic minefield. And then the most ridiculous thing out of the whole thing, they're going over a wooden bridge that. As it's crumbling, Dom is able to shoot the Charger across somehow. Right at the very end, they tease us because this movie loved to do these fake death sequences. They had a great one, actually, with Tyrese when the thing lands on him, or we thought it landed on him. Yeah. And he just comes walking around, and then in the next scene we get... Actually, I thought it was a very self-aware moment where Tej, Ramsey, and Roman are discussing... Are we superheroes?
Yeah.
Because look, I got bullet holes, and yet all this stuff has happened, and we're all still alive.
It kind of breaking the fourth wall right there, which is pretty great. I like that.
Yeah, but Tej put the kibosh on that. He's like, no, that's not right. That doesn't make sense.
Right. So they find the plane. Mr. Nobody's not there. There's an ambush, which they survive, obviously.
Absolutely.
Nobody dies.
Nope, they got away.
There was a device on this plane, Project Ares, because this is another crazy device in this universe.
And this device, my God, turns you into literally God because we have to keep outdoing the previous movies.
God's Eye.
Yeah,
but this is better than God's Eye, apparently. So now John Cena is introduced.
Yeah, we see him
in his Mustang.
With binoculars, and then, of course, the cross. Why he would have it thrown behind him.
Oh, behind him.
Yeah. Only to tell us.
To see that cool view, to see him from,
Yeah, other than that, because we haven't seen John Cena yet, because he's spectating the whole events until the very, very end when that device you're talking about, it's only half of it, is on the ground. He comes swooping in, picks it up, blinks at his brother, and drives away.
Takes off in the Mustang on the dirt road. And then he...
Can you throw dirt tires on these?
You can, but it's like... it's not going to perform how
because the Charger was performing pretty damn well, too.
Those might be all-wheel drive, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Again, this is a different universe.
Yeah, it's not real.
So we have a chase. Mm-hmm. Dom's chasing his brother in the Mustang, Mopar versus Ford. Yeah. And Ford wins.
Ford wins.
Like it does, usually.
I love the Mustang, especially that Mustang. It's
I
really
do
nice.
like that Mustang. So, but how did he win? He fucking jumped off a cliff, and the plane caught him in midair.
Yeah, I know. And not only that, but Dom follows. Dom and Letty follow him.
And I must have blinked and missed it, but where was that wire connected to the car?
So I actually rewound this because I was trying to find that too. The wire is on the helicopter. Uh-huh. So he somehow was able to jump, and he saw the wire hanging, and he grabbed his car onto the end of it, swung himself perfectly onto the other edge.
Makes sense.
And all Letty says is, wow, that's new.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, we're just going to blow past that.
Christ. So
he's gone, and then this is the next scene is when they were discussing the fact that they were, who Jacob is and everything like that. And, like, then we've revealed.
And then they learn Han is...
Oh, yeah, they see this again. Like, oh, yeah, who spun it around the show, Vin Diesel? Somebody did this.
Tej, I think.
Oh, he's like, you're going to want to see this. And then, yeah, we get some security footage showing that Han is somehow involved. We don't know he's alive, but he's involved. And then Dom's like, all right, that's it. All right, to conquer this, we got to split up. Letty's going to Mexico because that's where the postcard was, or Tokyo, one of them, I don't remember. Someone's going to Mexico, someone's going to Tokyo, and Dom is going to...
Oh, he went to London.
He went to London.
To hang out with Shaw's mother.
Oh, okay, yes. He did go see Shaw's mother. Oh, that was actually speaking of fantastic scenes, that was pretty cool watching her just drive around in whatever the fuck beautiful car that was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It was so gorgeous.
Oh, it was an Acura.
Was it an Acura? I don't know. I've never seen that
There
car.
wasn't a really nice Acura in there. Maybe it wasn't them. I think Tej and Rome were in the Acura.
Maybe. She was driving like it looked like a supercar. Like in that vein of things. So everyone's got their plans, and Michelle Rodriguez is in Tokyo. And she gets... With Mia. And they get...
down Han.
Yep, and they get saved by a bullet, that sniper.
Yes.
And we get a nice zoom in, and I wasn't sure because of the long hair being gone. I was like, is that Han? That's Han, right?
Did you know he was going to be in this?
Yeah, I told you. They spoiled it in the fucking trailer. So
why they do that shit? That's why I try not to watch trailers anymore.
I know, that really...
So Han's alive.
Yeah.
And then we find out that there's a little girl that he saved, but looks like he got killed in the process, but he didn't.
Yeah, this whole thing was just to write him back in, and it all made just no sense.
Well, no, that scene where he's stealing shit from that apartment and then saving the girl, but it looks like he just got shot.
Yeah.
But anyway.
She's the key, actually. The legit key that they need.
To the Ares thing, or whatever the fuck.
The Ares thing has two pieces, and then they need to be come together, but it still won't work without a key. A bunch of fail safes to make sure that nobody can become God, even though we did make this thing.
Yes, her DNA is the key somehow. Her
parents, they said, because her parents were, and now they're dead, but because we saw that again, and the blood's in her. But also, while we're in Tokyo, I don't want to blow past this. An old friend that we remember, Lewis Black and Bow Wow. And
I don't think that was in Tokyo, though.
Really?
I forget where it was, but Edinburgh.
Where the fuck is Edinburgh?
I don't know.
Okay, that's where they were? So, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
The guys from Tokyo Drift all pop back up again, is what I was getting at, which, again, creates another huge plot hole in the sense that I was doing the math. In this universe, this is probably about 4 or 5 years after Tokyo Drift.
Forget what you know.
So Lewis Black's supposed to be 21, Bow Wow's supposed to be 21, the third guy's supposed to be 21, I guess. All of them look absolutely middle-aged. I mean, all of them. I haven't seen Bow Wow in anything in a long time. I forgot. I'm like, did they replace the actor? Or is that Bow Wow?
Yeah, no, it was him. So they're putting a rocket on a Pontiac Fiero.
And why were they doing that?
I'm not sure. I think they were just dicking around. They were trying to make it fast as a car or as a plane
rocket
or something like that. I'm not entirely sure why they were doing it, but they were.
Thank God they were, or else we wouldn't be able to save the day at the very end of this.
Right.
It's also revealed through this whole thing that Charlize Theron was kidnapped by John Cena. And he's keeping her in a clear box that she's not allowed out of. And every time, Matt pointed this out to me, every time we see her, she's wearing
different clothes.
Looks just gorgeous every which way. And there's no toilet in there, so how is she going to the bathroom?
Yeah, no idea.
Not to mention all her, all the time she's able to fit in with the makeup department to make her look absolutely pristine, because everybody in this movie, and no matter what they're doing, is floating around like a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Like me, in my everyday life.
Right, so we learn that Jacob is also in London, so I think that's why Dom went there.
Yeah, Dom was really going after Jacob.
Yes, and he runs into Shaw's mother. She brings him directly to Jacob. He goes into his mansion party, whatever the fuck it was, and he's like, the spy world, this is my world, which I was like, okay, whatever.
Man, I guess you went two different ways, and yet somehow you crossed paths. And again, they try to actually write it in like he was like floating around, like the guy pulling all the triggers at the beginning of this since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I knew. I was like, and speaking of John Cena, I actually expected to hate him in this movie as far as acting. It wasn't bad. You know?
Wasn't bad. Looking forward to seeing him in Fast 10.
Yeah, me too.
So he is explaining why he wants the Ares thing, and that's what he's after.
It's James Bond plot.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, so there's some chases, there's some fights.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff is, and they just keep trying to just outdo. That's the thing, is like, I feel like these movies, that's why I just cannot imagine what they're going to do in Fast X. And I don't know if you've heard, speaking of which, Fast X, which was supposed to be
It's going to be a two-parter or a three-parter?
Now, Vin Diesel said that. He said, no, it turns out this is the first of a three-part finale.
I told you.
We get a trilogy of movies for the finale.
That's great. I love it. That means the one in the middle never has any, like,
well, there's no
stakes.
Yeah, I just don't understand what they can do, because this movie, the final act of this movie, they actually do the ultimate, what people said they couldn't do, and that's go to space.
So yeah, Ellie is the chick with Han. She's got the biometric DNA.
That's the reason why that's the reason why Han faked his death, and then they just explain.
Yeah, they also explain how Han's still alive. Mr. Nobody planted whatever and made the thing, and he's like, well, now the hard part's keeping you alive, and he put the glasses on.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my God, we're keeping you dead. He said,
keeping you dead.
And they just wrote it off. This is how they wrote it off, just for you just like to just gloss by it. Well, Mr. Nobody had a way of making people disappear.
Yes.
That's it, because Roman is asking the question we're all asking, like, how did you get out of that? We all saw the car crash, like, you know?
Right.
You know, so Roman's kind of speaking for us in these movies.
Now, this is around the spot where I fell asleep. But I have seen this movie before. I was in and out. I was tired. It was like 9 o'clock at night. I was pretty tired.
I was just getting a little blown away.
It was just like the nonstop action scene at the end. The last chase.
The third act.
The magnets thing and the cool.
The magnets thing was cool, though.
The car through the building was really cool.
I did like the magnets thing. I didn't understand how every car had them equipped, and they're all using these dials to manipulate stuff around them. There's one point they manipulate this big tank-looking thing that goes over, like,
push it away from you, reverse the polarity, push it away, and suck it back in. And
basic magnet stuff, but
magnets. Okay, what, like making magnets, collecting magnets,
playing with magnets?
Just magnets.
stuff, but these are super duper magnets. They went through this huge effort to actually get these magnets. We didn't bring that up yet, but yeah, they went through this whole big scene of getting them, and now each car has some of them in it. I was a little thrown off by this too.
Right.
Luckily, again, they found these guys from Tokyo Drift. I don't know if they found them based on their connection to Han, or if they just happened to stumble upon the three of them.
Well, so who'd they send? Tej and Rome?
Yeah, Tej and Rome.
And they said Dom Toretto sent us, and then Lucas Black was like, huh?
I know, Lucas Black again. And you told me that he was different from the previous. He had the exact same voice. He did not change his voice at all, which I told you frustrated me.
That's all right. So
I actually liked him, though. I did. I actually enjoyed him.
Great.
Yeah, he was actually. I liked him in this movie way more than I ever liked him in Tokyo Drift.
So at the end, it turns out that Cypher escapes her little box.
She got out.
The rich douchebag that was with John Cena turns out to be the main villain, I guess.
Well, that's because
John Cena.
Cypher manipulated that guy. He's like, oh, you know what you are? You're Yoda. Like Chinese, like, you're a puppet.
The whole Star Wars thing. A puppet with someone's hand up your ass.
Yeah. Basically saying John Cena's manipulating him.
Right,
so he's like, what? Me? And so he gets all offended. He's like, I'll help her escape, and now we'll take you down, because we can't keep John Cena bad the whole movie. We can't. He's family.
So now now they double-cross John Cena. And now he's by himself. They were chasing Cypher or something with the drone, and then Letty's like, I can't make it. I can't catch up to him. And then John Cena on the same channel, but I can. And then he pulls in next to Dom. They give each other the look.
Oh my God.
The family look. And they're off to the races. We have both Torettos are back together. We're on the same side. Now we're unstoppable. We have a super spy and a super criminal, whatever you want to call Dom. So he comes in, and he redeems himself, we'll say.
Yes, I would say that. He definitely comes flying in at the very end. Because he saved them, now he's welcomed back into the fold, and he can rejoin the family.
Did we mention the Fiero in space?
No, we were getting to that, because at the exact time this is all going on, we need the Fiero to take out... We need to go to space and take out this big satellite, because that's what's causing the drone and everything to be able to find everyone.
Yes.
So we need to get directly to...
We fly the Fiero up into the atmosphere or whatever on the plane, and then they launch that, and they break into the atmosphere. You know, we're in the Pontiac Fiero in space, and they did what they got to do, and they successfully land somehow.
Well, I just want a couple notes on the Fiero in space. First of all, CGI in this scene looks absolutely atrocious. You know, Tej and Roman, they're funny in the car. Like, we get close-ups on them, and they're wearing these, like, aquatic suits.
Yeah.
You know, because, again, this is all duct tape together. Yeah. That did remind me of Bioshock. So, yeah, and they're like, and we're thinking we're going to get a hero's moment here because the magnets on their car aren't working. The only flaw in this entire plan, everything else went according to plan, but they're like, okay, so they're like, we're going to fly into it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they survived at the perfect time. The drone goes down.
As one would.
And, you know, they saved the day. They survived this huge incident. Luckily, and everybody survives. I don't know how they got back to Earth. I was a little curious about
I think they just showed up at the barbecue.
Right? You think so? I was having
I didn't catch it either. Yeah, the wiki doesn't mention anything about their landing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Another happy landing.
Yeah, everything went according to plan, as of course it does.
Right. So, you know, we beat Cypher. We got John Cena, but did they kill Cypher?
No, Cypher was... So, we think that she's flying this drone.
But she wasn't.
No, it was like...
remotely doing it.
It was like a Guardians 2 situation where she's over in her room, so once that...
Okay, so
beautiful setup, by the way. Who set that up for her?
And she is still probably going to be the baddie in Fast X.
Well, I already know she's in Fast X, so...
All right, so she's the baddie.
I don't know if she's the baddie. This cast has a...
She
could join the team.
Might be redeemable. Yeah. You never know. So
everyone needs a second chance.
Yeah, so we redeemed Jacob. We beat Cypher for now, you know.
For the second movie in a row.
So everything's all good in the hood, and it's time to go barbecue. We're back at the Toretto household. It's being rebuilt since it was blown up.
Where were they living on the farm, and why did he want to be off the grid?
I'm not sure. I guess we just got rid of the farmhouse, moved right back to L.A. Mm-hmm. And then you know, we got the barbecue scene. I think. They were talking about. Letty was talking a little Brian in the garage, and she takes him out and she sits him down, and they go to say grace, and then Dom's like, "Well, there's one empty seat," and then he looks at Mia and she goes, "He's on his way," and then we hear the Skyline pulling up the block. Whoa, she hit the blow off valve. He pulls in the driveway in the blue Skyline. And this is where you get a little choked up because that is fucking beautiful. I like that.
Yep, and we get a post-credits.
They could have used his brother and just had him just get out and then cut
from behind. We could have seen him. That would have been cool. That would. And actually, speaking of young Brian, Dom's son in this movie, I felt like the actor playing his son, but they were trying.
Hate that name.
But I know, it bothers the hell out of me. I feel like they were trying to make this kid seem older than he was. Like, there was a scene where Dom's talking to him on the phone. And obviously nobody's on the other end.
Yeah.
And I was like, the conversation they're having, it just didn't seem plausible when they were doing the wrench scene earlier.
Back to that scene talking on the phone, actually, I would have really appreciated if Brian grabbed the phone and he was talking to the Buster.
That would have been cool.
You know,
go tell Uncle Brian that you get a second snack for dinner. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
And then he hands the phone back to Uncle Brian or whatever, and we get a quick couple...
I'm hoping
dialogue about Brian with Brian.
I'm hoping we get some more Brian. We'll see what we do. I just don't know how I feel about always having a cut around him not being there.
What can you do? You know.
Oh, you can't do nothing.
Then there's a mid-credit scene which you watched, right?
With Jason Statham returning. We
Captain America.
Oh my God, fighting the bag. Yeah, and then he gets in a room. I don't know what the fuck.
The same room from Captain America, almost. Yeah, I think.
Well, Captain America at least had a boxing ring in there. This is just a room with a bag. You know, he's got the hoodie up. He's talking about keeping himself in good shape. Gets a knock at the door, opens it up.
Han, he looks very surprised. Cut to black.
Yep, I'm assuming that in Fast X we will get the answers to this. So yeah, after the movie was over, I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm being honest. I thought that this is where, as if they haven't jumped the shark before. This is kind of where things just go completely off the rails and we throw any semblance of reality out the window because, again, we took the Pontiac Fiero to space. I remember before this movie came out, everyone was saying, oh, all they got left to do is go to space, and then that's it. What else?
They probably did it for that reason.
That's what I was thinking. Because this movie did seem a little self-aware.
Well, we have time travel. We can do time travel.
Oh, you think that's going to happen? I mean, at this point, what's off the table?
Nothing, really. It's anything is possible in this universe, and they make it work.
I mean, they're entertaining as hell.
Movies,
throughout all of these movies, though, the unsung hero really is Tyrese.
Yeah, I was trying to think today who was my favorite character, and he's definitely on the list.
He's just, I mean, I love Dom, but just some of the superhero shit that he does. I can't believe that he solved the entire thing with his brother.
I find myself laughing at scenes that just aren't supposed to be funny.
Yeah, just because they set him up as, like God, almost. He gets away from everything. He solves everything with family. Like, family can just bring it all together. And even Michael Rooker broke out the family line. Like, what was he supposed to do? He had no family. You were his family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, it's just the family.
Yeah, I don't know. They're great movies to watch with a big old bowl of popcorn and just have a great time.
No, that's entertaining.
You cannot take anything serious. Just follow the storyline. Just
the best you can.
Yeah, it's got a decent storyline. It keeps you coming back. There's reasons for everything that happens.
The stakes are always extremely high. We do the fake out deaths though they got a little out of hand in here. Where we thought with that.
I'm not ready to lose anybody. I don't know if
and we were just talking about. Sounds like we're getting a trilogy of movies to close it out. So I assume we're gonna start getting some deaths right in the franchise.
Not impossible.
I can tell you what, I guarantee you that Dom doesn't die. And also missing from this movie that really hurt me.
Dom is the only one that does die, actually. I bet you he's gonna go out on he's gonna die a hero's death in the third of the trilogy, maybe.
Oh, I could see them ending it like that. I thought you were gonna say something like in the Lord of the Rings movies, Gollum, Ian McKellen's character, he dies in the movie, and then they bring him back, and the second one is a different character. And I can see them doing that.
Dom's like, yeah, I'll play him, no big deal.
I'll just play somebody else, but it's this is Super Dom or some bullshit, because we're getting Jason Momoa in here, so
we're going actually in a couple minutes from recording this. We're actually headed out right now-ish to go.
And you guys can actually see that review now. We'll do a deeper dive eventually into it, but like we said, these half-assed movie reviews have not gone the greatest for us, so we might do some changes here on the channel, but we'll still break it down somehow. It's Fast X. We have to talk about it, and then we'll get Fast 11 or Furious 11 or Fast and Furious 11,
whatever they call it. Who knows?
I don't know what the hell they're gonna do, but yeah, I did miss The Rock in this though, and Jason Statham.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame. I think Jason Statham might be an X according to that post-credit scene.
Jason Statham is definitely an X, and
it's just The Rock that's not.
But
don't tell me anything.
I don't know anything
because I don't know anything.
All I know is that Jason Statham was on the red carpet.
I think I watched one trailer a while ago. I don't remember it.
I've seen the trailer, but I'm good at tuning it out. Brie Larson's in this too.
I'm excited to be surprised.
Yeah, hopefully we have a good night tonight. Matt's taking me for a ride in the Mustang, John Cena's Mustang. Same color too.
No,
it's blue.
Mine is different. I have an Azure blue, it's called, and that was a navy blue.
All right, thanks for giving me the fucking breakdown of the color palettes and the different shades of blue. All right,
it's clearly different. That one had stripes. It's a way newer model.
I'm aware.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for joining us here on another episode of Half-Assed Movie Reviews. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, nothing helps this channel out more than by you simply liking this video, subscribing to the channel, giving us a 5-star rating on all podcast services, and then after you're done doing that, go get whatever model of Mustang you want, do some burnouts, and tell all your friends about us. We'll be seeing you around.